Day 569 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 1262, greatest sum divisible by 3. The difficulty level is medium, so don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. Given an integer array nums, return the maximum possible sum of elements of the array such that it is divisible by 3. All right, y'all, so that sounds pretty simple, but let's go ahead and take a look at these examples anyway, just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. So in example 1, we have our input nums equals an array of integers 3, 6, 5, 1, and 8. The output is 18. Explanation says pick numbers 3, 6, 1, and 8. Their sum is 18. That's the maximum sum divisible by 3. So just to break this down one step further, what we want to do is we want to iterate through this array and we want to pick or add up all of the numbers that we can create that will still have a sum or that is still divisible by 3, right? So we want to create the maximum number by adding any one of these elements together that will still have allow us to have that sum be divisible by 3. So in this case, the output is 18 because 18 is divisible by 3 and it's the maximum sum that we can create that is divisible by 3. When we do 3 plus 6, that's 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 8 is 18. Now, say we did 3 plus 6 is 9. Say we just, and then we added the 5 because we want the maximum, which would be 14. Then we added the 1, which would be 15. Then we added the 8, which would be 23. That's a larger sum than 18, but it's not divisible by 3. We want the maximum sum we can create that's still divisible by 3. And in this case, it's 18. So just in case that didn't make sense, let's take a look at the rest of these examples. So in example 2, we have an input nums equals an array of integers. That integer is just 4. The output is 0. It says, since 4 is not divisible by 3, do not pick any number. So in this case, it's impossible for us to create a sum that is divisible by 3 because they only give us one number, which is 4, and that one number is not divisible by 3. So in that case, we just return 0. And in example 3, we have our input nums equals an array of integers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. The output is 12. It says pick numbers 1, 3, 4, and 4. Their sum is 12, and the maximum sum divisible by 3. So in this case, we pick 1 and 3. That'll give us 4. Plus 4 will give us 8. And plus this 4 will give us 12. And 12 is divisible by 3. Once again, say we try to include this 2, right? And say we did 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, right? So 1 plus 2 would be 3. Plus 3 would be 6. Plus 4 would be 10. Plus 4 would be 14. 14 is not divisible by 3, so we're not. That's why we exclude this 2, because when we exclude this 2 and we do 1, 3, 4, and 4, we get 12, which is the maximum sum that we can create that is still divisible by 3, so we return 12. So I hope that makes sense to y'all, and now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Solution is not that difficult. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a dynamic programming array, which is going to represent the maximum sum we can achieve. So we're going to declare a variable called dp, set that equal to an array, open up the parentheses because we need to initialize this array. So to start, this array is going to have repeating zeros, meaning the array is only going to have zeros just to start for the default value of count 3. So it's the array initially is only going to have 3 zeros, and then we'll mutate it as we go along. Boom. Then we're going to say for n nums. We're going to open up the bracket and we're going to make a copy of the current DP state so updates do not interfere with ongoing calculations. So we're just going to declare a variable called r and set that equal to DP. Boom. Then we're going to try adding the new number to each existing sum category by saying for val n r. We're going to open up the brackets and we're going to compute the new remainder bucket for val plus n. So we're going to say let remainder equal, open up the parentheses, val plus n, come outside of that, and we're going to mod 3. And this mod 3 right here is going to divide it by 3, and it's going to give us the remainder. So in the end, we want the remainder to be 0 after we divide the sum by 3. So this is going to make sure that the remainder is 0, which means if the remainder is 0, that means that it's divisible by 3. Then we're going to come underneath that, and we're going to update the best possible sum for that remainder by saying r square bracket remainder, come outside of that, we're going to set that equal to max, open up the parentheses, we're going to say val plus n, we'll say comma r, open up the square brackets, remainder. Boom. Then we're going to replace the dp with the updated values by coming right here. We're going to say dp equals r. Then we're going to come underneath that, and the best sum divisible by 3 is going to be stored in dp of 0. So we're going to come right here, and we're going to return dp square bracket 0, just like that. Boom. So let's go ahead and give this a run. Make sure it runs properly before we submit it, because we know how LeetCode is. And look at that, y'all. It's accepted. So let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still submitted. It's still accepted. And look at that, y'all. 2 milliseconds beats 100% of users. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see, y'all. So with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.